All right, here we are again. Going to try to do new interviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and those come on at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, but I mean, you can watch them anytime. And I'm going to keep doing that until I run out of people who will speak to me. Speaking of people who speak to me, we've got a really cool guest today. He's played with a ton of bands, so we got a lot to go over in his career. Played guitar for the Offspring. Currently, the lead singer of the band Last in Line, and he's a great guy, also from here in Vegas now. And so let's welcome Andrew Freeman. There he is, right there. Wow. The magic and technology. We're probably a few miles from each other, but
we probably could have done this in person, or maybe not with masks.
Frowned upon. Yeah, that's right. It's frowned upon.
Yeah, we're a group of two, so it's frowned upon.
I could sit in a car in front of your house and live stream.
I mean, haven't you already done that before? I feel like this has happened.
That was for recreation, not for
you creep.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing is creepy. I mean, we're grown men getting up to talk to each other on a something that used to be reserved for cam girls. So
yeah, I feel like I should have my pants off, or at least around my ankles or something when we're doing this.
I got to be honest with you. I don't wear pants when I do these.
Oh, great.
I put on my eyeliner, but no pants. And what makes it easy, Andrew, is that I can slide right into my OnlyFans after. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's great. That's great. This is way less profitable, I imagine. So
yes, true. But now, so if you're watching at home, you realize Andrew's got a good sense of humor, and we've shared a lot of jokes. So this should be a fun chat.
Serious, but that's fine. Yeah, sure.
Well, you can be serious. We'll segue into something really dark and serious, and then we'll get back to fun. I like it. Yeah, I always say that you've answered these questions a million times, but we'll try to find some new ground, and also there's probably somebody watching this for the first time. And you do have a really fascinating career. I think of you as this like journeyman rock star, because it didn't happen overnight for you.
It still hasn't happened, honestly. So it's.
You pay dues.
I consider myself a plumber musician. That's what I call myself, a plumber. I was watching this show, and I stole that term. There was a show, it was a movie on Netflix, because we're all watching a lot of Netflix now. It was called The Battered Bastards of Baseball, and it was Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's dad basically bought when he was younger, bought a team in the 70s up in Spokane, I think, and he referred to his father as a plumber actor, because his father was in every. He's been like the guy, and he was on contract, on staff at Paramount or something, and he was in a ton of different movies, so he called him a plumber actor. And I said, that's kind of what I am. I'm a plumber musician. So
the good thing, Andrew, though, about being a plumber musician is there's still a lot of people below you. The plumber is a good gig.
Sure.
I mean,
I like it. I don't hate it.
But I want to go back. Yeah, I want to go back because you're an East Coast guy from New York originally, and so were you? I mean, did you grow up listening to hard rock and kind of metal music? Because I know your early bands weren't really that style.
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of, before I was a teenager, my preteen years, I was into, Kiss and Ted Nugent and Aerosmith. And then I started to slide into, bands like The Clash and the Ramones, like yourself, and that Sex Pistols and that whole, punk rock thing. Was always on my radar. I was a big Clash fan, because I remember they came to New York when I was like 10 years old or something, and it was all over the news. And I was like, "What the hell is this?" They played at Shea Stadium.
I remember that.
And so it was this big news, like the Clash is coming to the U.S. I'm like, "What the fuck is the Clash?" So it made me really appreciate, because I was, we were working class and white bread and. Basically that's what it was. You were either a rock guy or you were a disco guy. You know what I mean? When I was younger, and I liked both. I always liked everything. I was always into music, into all different types of music. So I grew up kind of being a closet new wave punk guy, but my main thing was hard rock and heavy metal. So
I feel the same. It's funny, growing up in New York, I never felt forced into one or the other. Now you hear people, if you're punk, you don't like metal, but I just like good music. And obviously you were the same.
Right.
When do you discover that you have this voice you have for people who might not know, you have a great heavy metal voice. You can scream, you can sing high. I mean, there's a reason that you work, that people want you. And so, how do you figure out that you can do that?
I don't know. I guess it was I was in high school, and my first car was the crappiest Mustang in existence. It was one with a hatchback, and it was 4-cylinder. When they tried to turn them into a, my dad said, "Oh, we're gonna get a Mustang. This place got a Mustang," and I go there, and it's got a hatchback on it, and it's it's just a fucking 4-cylinder, no balls, type of car. But it was my first car, and I had a cassette deck in it, and I would just, I had about a 45-minute drive from home to school every day, and I would just play tapes, and I would sing at the top of my lungs as loud as I could, and that's how I realized I could actually do it. And then I
did you ever train like professionally?
Yeah, I did a little. Yeah, I had a teacher, but not then. I did it. I guess later, was late 20s, late to mid 20s. I had a teacher that I went to who was this older opera woman who was a school teacher, and I paid like $10 an hour, to go and get a vocal lesson. And she was great. She taught me a lot of stuff, and I took it in college for like a semester, and I did it, just to get because I was going to college, and she said I could get college credit for private studies, so I got the credit and did that. And then I didn't study for a while, and then well, my brother was I don't want to say he was a singer, but he tried to sing. And he went to Don Lawrence, who was a big vocal coach in New York, who did a lot of the bigger guys. So he would he'd come home with these warm-up tapes of his lesson, and I would always just, I kind of got the idea of what it was to warm up and all that stuff, and go through the motions of that. And but I never seemed to have any money to do it, so it was always like, that's going to cost me this much. And Don was like 50, it was like 100 an hour, I think it was. And back then it was like, oh my God, I can't, that's your week's pay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I never went to Don, but later on, I think when I moved to LA, I started to really take it seriously. And I found this teacher down in Laguna Beach. And I just, because I did a show with Lynch Mob. I did a gig with Lynch Mob, and it was videoed. It was for the guitar place there, the Musicians Institute, MI. And I got the video back, and my pitch was just all over the map, So I said, I got to do something about this because, the tape doesn't lie. So we did that, and oh yeah, look at those guys. Look at those.
Here's and that's a later lineup, but
that's a later lineup, yeah. So that kind of, I went to her, and she was real cool, and did that, and that's when I got my pitch together, and I kind of got my shit together because I had sang in a couple different bands before that, but I was mostly a guitar player. So
yeah, I would say you kind of do everything. I mean, you sing, you play guitar, and you play bass.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is a good thing to have in your back pocket, so to speak.
Yeah.
So one of the bands that it seems that you started to have some success with was 30 Stones, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Early 2000s. Those guys now.
Oh, hey, look at that. Yeah, that's a later picture too. That was more towards the end of it, but yeah.
Well, it lasted quite some time, right?
That was the LA version of that band. Yeah. Yeah, we were a Massachusetts band, and we did. I was there with them for about 4 years, and then we tried to do I moved to California, and Keith, the singer, the guy that's next to me, I'm the guy all the way to the far left, and right. A different hairstyle. And he lived in Massachusetts. He didn't want to make the move, but we tried to, do back and forth, and we did some stuff at NAMM and whatever. And I would go back there to do gigs, but we put a record out. It got, did some radio marketing for it, and we got some radio numbers and some what do you call it? We got some. We charted basically with it a little bit.
Yeah, and you did a lot of touring, right, with some pretty cool acts.
We did mostly regional touring. Anywhere we could get. In a weekend. Anywhere we could go, and then get home to work on Monday. So that was basically the idea. We did a lot of New York City shows. We did a lot of stuff in New England and Connecticut and just around that general area. So
yeah, well,
but it was a fun band. We were that was the last band I was in where it felt like there was like that, everybody's on the same, got the same idea, and we're going to starve to do it. We're going to just jump in the van, and we're going to, all eat, shit food. We're going to, bring a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter jelly with us and just live on that. And
that's probably some of the most fun times you had, though.
Yeah, it was one of the best band experiences I had, because we were bros and we had a common goal, so yeah, I mean, the singer passed away a couple of years ago. He about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So like a year after, I want to say it's actually the same year Jimmy Bain passed. So it was that was a rough one. So
yeah, that's a tough year. Yeah. Well, we'll get into some of those things, but let's talk about 2008.
Yes.
You end up in this band. You're in the back there.
Oh yeah. Probably one of the only pictures there is of existing.
I found it. But explain to me how you end up being a guitar player in the Offspring.
Well, I have a friend named Steve Massey, and he was their production manager for a really long time. And I had moved to LA, and of course, we grew up together. We were in touch, and one day he just called me out of the blue. I was teching for that. I went and teched for them for they're working on a record, and I went in and guitar tech for him for a couple sessions, and met Bob Rock that way, and met the guys, and he called me a couple months later. He said, "Hey, we need a guy, a utility guy, keyboards, guitars, and backup vocals." And I said, "Yeah, sure." I said, "I'd love to come check that out." So I went down and auditioned. It was me and 4 other guys, and I won. I got in, and that was great. It was a great gig. We best hotels, biggest gigs, stadium shows, and just the dream, where you go play in Japan, you stay in Tokyo for 3 weeks, and you kind of, I'm going to go do this gig and come back, and see, just stuff like that, stuff that you read about, that type of touring. That was
it's probably an easy gig. Play a little guitar.
Yeah, it wasn't terribly hard. That stuff is, you just got to have a fast right hand, for that, and take that and do with it what you want. You got to move you got to have a fast right hand for that, for all the fast guitar playing stuff.
Absolutely. It's a different style.
Yeah, it was a different style, and but yeah, it was fun. We played in Japan, we played South America, we played Moscow in Russia, and Europe. It was quite an experience, and it was validating at the time too. It was because I was at a point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to continue on with this, because it's like it's either got to go or it's not going to go. So, and I just got married that week. The week I got that gig, I was planning on going back to the East Coast to get married, had everything set up, and we were going to go back for the week to get everything done. And I get back there and I get a phone call. Hey, can you be down here tomorrow to audition? Yeah, I guess so. So I auditioned before I left, and I said, but I'm going back east, so let me know next week. So they called me 2 days after I left, and I ended up, they paid for me to come back and rehearse with them. And I got back. So in the middle of all this stuff, went back, played with them again, and then came back east, got married, and then went back and then went on tour. So it was
on a new marriage.
Yeah, that's all right. Now, she was always cool. We're not together anymore, but she was always, wasn't for her, I wouldn't be, doing any of this stuff. So it was totally fine. Yeah.
So after Offspring, what did you do next?
What did I do next after Offspring? Well, I had a little bit of a lull, because I had a son, and so I was home with him for about 2 years, and then after that, just started doing some like tribute bands to get back into it, and doing like weekend stuff, and then after that, what did I do after that?
Maybe Lynch Mob around that time again.
Well, I did Lynch Mob. Lynch Mob was between 30 Stones and Offspring. So I did that 2005 to 2007, 2008, I guess. And that's where I met Vinny Appice in that band. So I started with them then, and then I went back. Just the past couple of years, I've done some gigs with them. So
Yeah, I would say you've gone back and forth. I feel like when George needs you, he comes back.
yeah, I try to keep a good relationship with him. I know a lot of people, don't have a great relationship with him, and I understand why, but he can be a really great guy, but he can also be kind of difficult. And when he changes his mind, he changes his mind. If you're not the flavor of the week, if somebody else comes along, he's all about that. So when I played with him, I got called in. Well, we did a tour where he came to the East Coast. I was still living in New York, or in Massachusetts. I was living, and so we booked a tour, put a band together around him, brought him out, kind of like what you did with the Sinners. Like we brought him out.
A pickup band. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So we went out and did that, and we did like 2 weeks. It was myself and Rob DeLuca, who was in a band called Spread Eagle, and he's UFO now. And this guy, John Macaluso, the drummer he's played with Ingve. And so we did this gig, 2 weeks of the gig, and then he went home, and that's kind of convinced me, like, I need to get out of where I was at. So I said, move to LA. And then he was working with a guy named Kelly Keeling. And something happened. Kelly had some sort of medical emergency the night before they're supposed to leave for a tour. And my brother was his lighting guy or production manager. I don't fucking know what he was doing for him at the time, but called me and said, "Hey, we need a guy just to get." I said, "Well, I just got a job, dude, and not for nothing. I was really not interested." And so I got him through the weekend. I said, "I'll get you through the weekend, and you got to fly me back from wherever." And they brought a bunch of guys out, and it was just wasn't what they were looking for a singer, so I just ended up staying. Long story short, I just ended up staying, and I did the rest of the run, and then I stayed with him for a little bit, and then Vinny came into the fold. We did a month tour with Vinny Appice and Martin Anderson from Lizzie Borden, and that's how I met Vinny. So that's when it started.
A lot of your career has been being in the right place at the right time and having the talent as well. You know what I mean? To be that guy, because you are one of those people. Band needs a guy. They now know they can to get you. Jumping around real quick. I mean, Hurricane needs a singer. You're in Hurricane. The guys from the Bullet Boys want to do a band without Mark.
Yeah.
You're the singer. You're the singer.
Right.
And so obviously you're on that list. There's a couple of guys that you go, if I need someone, Lynch, if one of his singers backs out, I can get maybe I can get Andrew, and
and that's what I mean by the plumber thing. It's kind of funny because I usually have my shit together, and a lot of guys in this business don't have their shit together, as you know, and a lot of them are difficult to work with, and so there was I think Jeff Duncan called me once to do an Odin show. Right. We know Jeff. Yeah. Jeff from Armored Saint, he had a band back in the day called Odin, and they were going to do a cruise, and their singer didn't want to do it. So Jeff, hey, you want to do this cruise with us? Sure, I'll do the cruise with you. And then the singer found out about it, and he was like, oh, no, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. So that happens a lot. That you mentioned.
You're like bait.
Boys. Huh?
They use you as bait,
Yeah, pretty much.
We got him.
Yeah. And I feel like, bigger people in the industry are starting to use me as bait again, or now, so, which is what this whole Bullet Boys thing was when they, we went and did a cruise and it was the three original members and myself. And I just kind of did it as a favor to the drummer, Jimmy Deanda, who's, a real good friend of mine and still is. And, I went and did that and now they're back together. So,
and that was called Lies, Deceit, and Treachery.
Deceit, and Treachery. Yes. The biggest nonsensical project I've ever done in my life.
Yeah. I get it. But it's a living.
It's a what?
It's a living.
It's a living, exactly. And it was a nice vacation. We did 2 cruises, and that's the problem with those cruises is that people go out on them and they put their old bands back together. They use nostalgia cruises, and then they have a packed house at every show they do, and then they get off the cruise and think, oh, we should take this on the road. But they don't realize that those people on that cruise are from all over the world. They came to see that, and that's, you know, you're going to go to that town. There's going to be 2 of those people there, and that's kind of what happened with those guys. It just, you know, we started doing some shows that didn't work out. So
one of the things about, you know, people reuniting their old bands is that a lot of these guys haven't been out on the road since the old days, and a lot of times they think it's going to be like, they don't realize you're playing bowling alleys and parking lots and especially trying to fill a tour. And I think a lot of those guys aren't ready for that. And so we could talk a little bit about Last in Line, which is the original Dio band. You know, this is the fourth band that was on those records. Vinny Appice on drums, Jimmy Bain was on bass, Claude Chanel on keyboards, and then of course Vivian Campbell on the guitar. This is a big. These are big shoes to fill. You know, I know you're not filling them. You're doing your job, but it's a tough one. Metal fans
he wasn't a very tall guy, so I don't know. I don't think his shoes were very big, but no, you're right. Yeah, it was a bit of a mindfuck, because that's something that me and Vinny used to talk about when we were out with George. Is, you know, get up for coffee in the morning, and he was like, I mean, I should have known back then, because when I was playing with Vinny, you know, we would talk about that stuff, and I would get up in the morning, walk out the bus, be making coffee, and he would, first, one thing he said to me, it was a huge compliment. He said, "Hey, you know, you're the first guy I've played with since Ronnie that can actually," and this was when Ronnie was still alive, you know, that can sing like that and get up the next day and actually, you know, be able to talk, you know. So I was like, "Oh, thanks." You know, I took it as a huge compliment. And then, you know, fast forward, I don't know how many years later, and you know, he contacted me and said, "Hey, we're putting the band back together, man." Right. They were getting together to jam, and you know, we need somebody to come down and sing a little bit. So I was doing a session. I was actually doing rock vault sessions. We're recording that disc before it was even a show, and I had to shoot over there. And I walked in, sang a couple songs, and they were pretty happy with it. But it wasn't like anything they were going to do professionally. You know what I mean? It wasn't. They just
be fun to
give it play,
right?
Yeah, Vivian had played with Thin Lizzy, and for a little bit, and he was playing, you know, more aggressive guitar, and you know, more rock, more than what he does in Def Leppard. And it kind of turned into, you know, he called Vinny up and said, "Hey, let's get together and play some songs and just jam," you know. So I guess when I came in, they said, "Well, let's do some gigs," you know. So
yeah, because I remember when it started, it was kind of, here's your chance to see the songs of those records with the original band. And
yeah.
Was there ever a part of you that thought, I don't want to do this? I mean, or that, I mean, look, you're not really an intimidated guy. I get it. You know, did you get a little bit of heat? I mean,
I'm sure I did. You know, there was, you know, not at the gigs. I mean, more online, you know.
Right.
More online than anything else. But I don't really get too deep into that stuff. I learned my lesson a long time ago with that, when I did an opening slot for YNT once, with one of my original bands, and back in, I can't remember what it was, and they just tore us up every night. We just got tore up, and then I would engage these guys, and it's like, I'm not doing it anymore, because it, you know, it kind of messes with your sanity a little bit, and your I don't know about your self-worth, but you're more of your well, maybe I should do that. This guy says I should do this. You know, John from his mom's basement in Tuscaloosa tells me I should do this. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So I just, now, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say I grew up, but I feel like I used to care more about what people think about me, and now I don't.
Well, you have the endorsement of Dio's band. They chose you to do this job.
Yeah.
The guy in the basement's opinion doesn't really matter, and he's not buying a ticket and wasn't going to go to that show anyway.
But he does. He
Yeah.
does. Because I have done a little research, and he does go to the show. He does go to the show, and he's Mr. Nice Guy, because, you know, and then he gets home, and I don't really like that guy. Like, okay, that's cool. And they don't have to, but I think we did one show. We did a show in England, and it was Bloodstock Festival, and packed, you know. And I introduced Vivian, and there was one guy. It was like, boo, you know. There's one goes, fuck you, you know.
Getting his money's worth. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had one guy like that at a show in California too. It was just you ignore it, it goes away. It's like I'm not up there trying to be, I'm not up there in suede boots and medieval type clothes. I'm a street guy.
Yeah.
I'd go on stage like this. This is how I used to go on stage with Offspring. I just hoodie and go. And I just try to do my thing, but I try to be as respectful to the original as possible. I try to do it as close to the original as possible with bring my own thing into it, to match the energy of what those guys do. And and they're happy. The fans are happy. And honestly, now, Jason, it's really more of a writing band for me. We do have to do certain songs, but we did Download Festival last year, and we did one Dio song.
Yeah. Well, the band. So you guys started recording, so it became a lot more than just the singing the old music. Here's the first record.
Yeah, that's my son.
Oh wow, that's funny.
My son, you know where that is? I took that picture. That's my son Jacob, and we took that picture out at going out. What is that place called with all the different colored rocks when you're leaving Vegas on the left-hand side, going towards LA? Seven Natural, whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's some Wenders or something.
Yeah. Where the flats there, where they have the big sand flats there. So, so I took that picture, and then we.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did the album cover design as well with another guy. So I basically art directed it. I did most of it.
Yeah, well, it's not too shabby. But so anyway, this album, is original music that you guys were able to go out and play. Now, did all the original guys was Claude Schnell on this record too?
No, well, Claude did the original. Just we're going to go out and play the old stuff. Yeah, and then it was decided that we were going to. They wanted to do the recordings like they did it back in the day, and there was no keyboard player in the mix back then. Jimmy played like the keyboards part on Rainbow in the Dark. That's Jimmy Bain playing that.
Wow.
Record. Yeah. So I believe Jimmy played all the keyboards that were on the first album. So, and I think Claude came in on the second one, but I'm not sure if he recorded with them. But they basically wrote all the songs, the three of them together, and then Ronnie would come in and write something down and start working it. So we kind of do the same. It was really important to them to do the same sort of writing process, and to make the songs, basically try to stand up to the originals, at least so that they were, I don't want to say they're as good, but, but it's not like, okay, they're doing one of their own songs, everybody's going to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? So,
and it's not just a cash grab,
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's very much not, how these things work. It's just, when you're playing in strip malls and we'll get some small theaters and some arenas sometimes, but, we play the corner bar, a lot of times. And so it's not a terrible amount of money, especially it's not definitely not worth, Vivian Campbell's time. That's for sure.
And that's how it's a passion. Vivian Campbell is in a multi-platinum band, Def Leppard, play anywhere, anytime. And so obviously he believes in this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's passionate about it. He seems to be, he's not the type of guy you can get a read on all the time, but he hasn't, we're 2 records in, we're halfway through a third. So I think he's into it. It's just a matter of he's got, his main gig is the priority for him.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk about Jimmy Bain a little bit. You guys go on Monsters of Rock cruise, and we're coming up just on the anniversary of this the other day. But so Jimmy plays his last show ever with Last in Line. And he wasn't feeling well, I believe, when he was on the cruise, right?
Yeah, it was the Def Leppard Hysteria on the High Seas cruise.
Oh wow!
Yeah, same people that do it, but as the Monsters Rock cruise. So yeah, we got together with Jim like 2 weeks before we were supposed to do the cruise, and he came into rehearsal and he had he looked really pale, and he said, I have pneumonia. I'm on the mend. So no worries. And we were like, right there, we said, hey, if we need to cancel this, we can cancel this. It's not that big of a deal. We don't need to do it. Your health, obviously is more important. He's like, no, I'm fine. He wanted to play. So we just took him at his word, and turned out that he had, stage 4 lung cancer. So, and didn't tell anybody. So, but he really wanted to play, so we've put the pieces together after everything happened, and realized that he just wanted to, he wanted to play. So, and he didn't have much time left. So we got to Florida, and we did a gig before the cruise. It was like an on land sort of a thing at a casino there. And he, was looking pretty ill. He's just not looking good. And we're like, oh shit. But he got up like a fucking trooper, and he did the whole gig, and he was spot on like he always was. And then, somebody took him back to the hotel, so he's not looking very good. And so the next day we met at the bus. I called it. We met at they take you from the hotel to the boat, and waiting in the lobby. Jimmy's late. Not very, not something that's out of character for him. So, like, we thought he was going to be late. He wasn't late yet. So I said, somebody better call Jimmy's room and make sure, he gets down here in time. So the hotel gives me a thing, and he answers the phone. I'm like, hey man, we got to go in 10 minutes. He's like, I know. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Hung up the phone. He was there right on time. Comes down, basically starts staring at my coffee, steals my coffee. I said, Jim, you want some coffee? He's like, yeah, sure. So I gave him the rest of my iced coffee, and he looked great. He was on time. He looked great. I should have knew then that something was going to happen, because he was fucking on time. And he looked great. We got to the boat, and didn't see him. He was next door to me. Didn't really see him. He said he was still sick. So, I had went out and got him some, before we left, I got him some, just care package stuff, just medicine or whatever, store-bought medicine. And he stayed in a room next to me. And then a couple days later, I think it was 2 days later, I got a knock on the door, and they said that, he hadn't been responding. And so, yeah, and turned out he had passed in his room on the cruise. So,
and you played the night before, is that right?
No, we played, I believe it was on a Thursday, and the cruise left on a Friday.
Okay, so his final show wasn't on the boat. It
No.
was on land? Okay.
It was on land. It was at a Magic, I can't remember what it was called. It was a Magic City Casino, I think maybe it was called. It's in Miami. It's a casino in Miami.
And did the boat, did you play the show on the boat?
No, well, we kind of did. The day that we were supposed to play was only like, over the weekend sort of a thing. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like the normal 5-day cruise that they have. So we were supposed to play the last day, the Sunday morning, and we had found out Saturday night. So we did a memorial, in our time slot. We did a big memorial service on the boat in the main theater. And then we ended up playing with Eric Brightingham from Cinderella, played bass for us. Yeah, he played bass for us we did like 3 or 4 songs on the main deck.
Tough thing to do.
Yeah, it was tough, but everybody really, bucked up, and the whole cruise was there was one disaster after the next, So
we'll get to more of that the cruise, but but I want to point out that Jimmy Bain really had what an amazing career, and he's buried in the same cemetery not far from Lemmy and from Ronnie James Dio, so he's sort of in that.
He's in that little corner there, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So people want to go pay their respect to all these great fallen rock legends. Yeah. Okay, so now is this the same cruise where Joe loses his voice?
Yeah. This was a weird day. This was a Saturday night, and that was the day Jimmy passed. We did a meet and greet in the morning, and he didn't get up for it. So said he's still still a little sick, and ended up going to dinner with my girlfriend, and the next, because I wasn't playing. So when I don't play, I eat.
Yeah.
And if I don't have a gig, I fucking eat.
That's
So,
one of the good parts of those cruises.
Yeah, yeah. So we went to the nice restaurant on the thing and on the cruise and ate and whatever. And Leopard was going to play that night, and I said we should probably see if we can get in, because all the seats in the theater, people had paid for, it was part of your ticket, and I didn't have a seat, so I just, I never assume anything.
Yeah.
I'm the guitar player in my band is in the band, and I'm like, I'm not going to assume that I can just get in. So I want to walk over and see what I need to do, because I'm not the guy who's, hanging around all the time trying to, catch somebody's attention, and try to work my way in. If I can't go, I'll do something else. What I mean? No big deal. So we went there, and I ran into Eddie Trunk, and he was outside of the theater, and I said, yeah, we're going to find out what's going on. And he said, somebody came running out and said, hey, they're looking for you inside. It might've been Eddie. He said, they're looking for you inside. I'm like, looking for me for what? I'm like, what the fuck they need me for? So I walk inside, and their tour manager, I think his name is Mike Kobayashi. He comes running up the aisle of the theater, and he's like, hey, do you know any Def Leppard songs? I go, I know every Def Leppard song, And I do. I know not everyone, but I know the ones that matter. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah. I said, I used to be in a Def Leppard tribute band, and his eyes got real wide. And he's like, can you go up to the stage, get on stage? And I go up there. I'm like, what's going on? Like, so somebody walked over to me. I think Phil with a set list, Phil Collin. He says, Joe lost his voice, and we need somebody to get us through the show. You don't have to do the whole show, but we need somebody to get through. Do you know? Hands me a set list, and he goes, what songs do you know? And I looked at him, because I always consider Phil the new guy, because I've been a Def Leppard fan since I was a little guy when Pete Willis was in the band, So I was like, what do I know? I go, what do you know? And so I was like, yeah, I just kind of was like, I can do all these. I think the only one I couldn't do was Two Steps Behind, right. The ballad. So I said, yeah, I can do all of them. So
it's probably not that you couldn't do it. You probably just weren't that familiar with it.
Yeah, I wasn't. If I had a lyric sheet in front of me, I probably could have. Yeah, but I didn't know that one off the top of my head. No, but everything else, no problem. So just kind of like, okay, well, do you know? So we busted into Let It Go, and then we did Bringing On the Heartbreak, and it was fucking amazing. It was absolutely amazing, because it's just, they were happy. I was happy, and the only person that wasn't happy was Joe. And I mean, it wasn't that he was angry or mad at me. He knew that he had a really great attitude about it, because he didn't have to. Huh?
Did you talk to him?
Oh yeah, Joe's like salt of the earth. Super down to earth guy. Not the mega rock star that you would think he, right. Because he is. He's a fucking mega rock star. I think he is anyway, and just super cool. I'd met him a few times before that, and so he was mad cool, and but it was weird, because he's standing by the monitor board while I'm singing, yeah. And just looking at me, and basically came out after we got done and started, and everybody was really surprised that I knew the tunes, and he came walking out from the board to everybody. He's like, don't anybody get any ideas, because they've gone out without Viv before. They've gone out without Phil before. And I think they've gone out without Sav before as well. So like, they've just brought in somebody to fill in for them. But that band is never going to do anything without Joel. Yeah. No fucking way, So
rightfully so. Yeah.
Yeah, rightfully so. So he was over there, and then when the show happened, well, what happened is after the show ended, or after the sound check was over, everybody went upstairs to get ready for the gig, to their rooms, and that's when we found Jimmy.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I basically went back to my room. The butler from the floor, because we were on the fancy floor, mm-hmm. and the guy who was the butler for all the rooms was like, "Hey, your friend hasn't responded." And because I'd sent a sandwich to Jimmy earlier because he wasn't eating, so I said, I called the guy up early in the morning. I said, has he been eating? And he's like, no. I said, send him a sandwich. Like, send him, just put some stuff together, and, a couple different things. Because everything was free. You know what I mean? Like, just send him a bunch of shit.
It's on me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just put it. The guy didn't care. He's like, just give him whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. He's not going to ask for it. Just bring it to the room. So he told me he didn't touch any of the food. I went in there to turn the beds down, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's responding. I go, okay, well, did you see him? He's like, no, I need you to come in the room. And I'm like, why can't you do it? He said, I can't do it. So I went in and I found him, and so then I had to go and tell everybody. And my girlfriend, Sarah, who, she was with me, God bless her. She went down and told Vinny. She found Vinny first, and then Vinny came up, and then everybody knew, and that was it. And then we had to decide whether we were going to do the gig, and so the decision was made that we're going to go forward with it, and we weren't going to say anything till the next morning because we wanted to, at least get in touch with Jimmy's daughter, Sam, who lives in the UK. And, we're in the middle of the fucking water, in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. We can't, it's hard to get word out, and it was probably about, 3 a.m. there in the UK at the time. So, so we ended up going through the show, and the show was great. And, but then the next morning we announced. So,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember I was on the road with some band, and we were hearing it. And it's just, you just can't believe being on one of those cruises. And like you said, the cruise from the beginning was sort of this cursed cruise. Everyone was talking about how bad the weather was and people getting sick. And then you have somebody lose their life, and you lose your life on a cruise. There's a lot of legality involved in that because you're in the middle of a body of water, you can't move the person. So it's funny is that you're not funny, but these events, like these are two big things. I said I got to ask him about Jimmy Bain, but also got to ask him about the Def Leppard. I just assumed they were separate times, not the same.
So weird, same day, like within hours.
I mean, what a high and a low
without the other, So what's that?
What I mean, highs and lows beyond belief.
Yeah. It was a very strange day. It was a very strange day. So, and I even now, like I've told the story a million times, but I haven't told it in a while. And I was getting for a second, I was getting a little, am I going to lose it? You know what I mean? It's just, it was a weird fucking day. And you don't realize, in the heat of it, you're just trying to get through it, but after it, and I'm one of those guys too, like if there's a situation, I'll handle the situation and then I'll deal with the mental shit after, and, but it was a very, very crazy day, crazy day. And then, we had to talk to the police the next day when we got back to port in Miami, and that was it. And but I can tell you, I know what happens now. I know what happens on cruise ships when people get arrested and when people die. So there's a jail, and on the other side of the hall is a morgue. So
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when I was out with a bunch of seasoned musicians, and you just so the business, and you're thinking to yourself, this is really a crazy situation. I think one of the people that I was out on the road with actually went to the jail on one of those cruises, but
did he? Yeah,
can't say. But you probably know who it is.
I probably do. I wouldn't doubt it.
I'll tell you off the brig they call it.
Shit happens. Yeah, the brig. Exactly.
Imagine
it's a real thing.
Screwed up. You go to the brig on a rock cruise.
Yeah.
But so Last in Line continues. You guys bring in Phil Soussan, who was Ozzy Osbourne's bass player, Ultimate Sin, and you do record another record. Here it is, and this one is Last in Line 2.
Right.
And so tell me a little bit about, and this is the one you're still currently promoting. I know you're working on a third, but this is the.
Yeah, I mean, this one, we really had a great time making it. It was a little tougher than the first one, just because some schedules were a little funky, so we had to adjust. I did a lot of the recording here, a lot of my vocals here, because Jeff has a production credit on it, but it says Jeff Pilson and Last in Line, because we halfway through it he got real busy, so we couldn't. We just kind of made the decision to keep moving, and so yeah, it's a really cool record. I'm a little. I don't want to say I'm bitter about it, but I don't think it got a chance because. we released it in February, and then Leppard was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a month later. So all of our press, most of the press that gets done for these records is done by Vivian, because that's who they all want, and everybody wants. Got to have Vivian, so because he's the guy, he's the rock star, in the band, and so everybody, they all want to talk to him. So that basically turned into our press for the record turned into a
Def Leppard tour.
Hey, how about that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing? So, and then I feel like we left the label a year later. The following year after it just seemed like it kind of dropped off. But the people that support us seem to love it, and a lot of people liked it. So I just wish it got a little more promotion. But
you're so involved in it, so that who doesn't know the experience, they know that it's great music. You just have so much of your life tied into it.
Yeah, that was a weird time too, because I was doing Rock Vault in Vegas, and we had a month off in August, and I basically was in this room. I didn't leave this room all month. You know what I mean? I was in here trying to finish this record because we had a deadline, and then I got this done, and I ended up leaving the show, I think that October. And
we should mention real quick, in case people don't know, that you were in the Las Vegas show called Raiding the Rock Vault. How many years were you in the show?
7 years.
Yeah, 7. When I saw that show, I said this thing will be closed in a week.
A lot of people said that. I said that.
Yeah. Okay. So we thought alike, and you know what? I have no ties to that show, but the original show was pretty bad. That you guys find this vault, and it got better. But the original show was really rough.
The federal archaeologist.
Yes. Oh, it was just so silly, and I thought there's no way but it would survive and keep going, and so 7 years in Las Vegas. What a great run for you, and you were able to do your other things as well. And you really, they needed you for that show. You had that voice. Not, there's a lot of singers in it, but not everyone can sing the style that you do. Yeah, I'm trying to be polite.
You can say whatever you want.
Oh, I'll say the ones that suck. Not kidding.
I would say that too. I'd say there was 1 or 2 that sucked in that show. Sure. Yeah. There's 1 or 2 or 5 that sucked as people in that show too. So I'm not. I have no. My positive answer is my PMA answer is it was a great gig for a long time, and then when it wasn't a great gig, I got fired, and I let it happen. I could have saved my job, and I said, you know what? Nah, I ain't doing this anymore. Because I agree with you. It was, to a couple of punk guys, a couple of punks, it's like the show was really cheesy when it first started. And it was super cheesy, and to the point where, and I was a black t-shirt, pair of jeans guy on stage. And then I come into this gig, and then I got to put all these, they want me to wear all these elaborate things. So I kind of had to regress and okay, how do I make this cool for me? And it was cool, it was cool for a long time. I got to Vegas, I got to, to come to Vegas that way with a show with a production scale. I mean, had a big production scale to it. And to come to Vegas like that was great because I got to meet everybody, like everybody who was in shows in town, other musicians in town. And so it was okay. It wasn't like it wasn't a bad thing. There was just, like any other situation, like with that, when you get those all-star things, there's always some sort of, ego tension.
It's very tricky.
Yeah. But I got along with most, and I still get along with most of them to this day. But when I left, it was not a, with that show, when you leave that show, you're out. Like you're out and you're public enemy number 1. So, and when I leave something, I don't look back. Like I don't, it's very rare for me to go back to something that I did in the past because, I don't know. I'm always moving forward. And I said to somebody right before I got let go that I said, don't worry about me because I'll always have a job. Like I'll always work. You know,
Yeah.
there's always something going on. And even now with this pandemic and the way things are going, like I work on something every day. Even if it's for myself, I work on something every day. So
you're not a sit still kind of guy, and your life
can't
depend on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. My mind won't let me, you know. But when I do, but of course, you know, I have my bouts of depression and all that where I don't, you know, I'll have a day like yesterday. It snowed here in Vegas, and I said it had nothing to do with depression. It was just like I'm not going to work today. I'm going to go out. I'm going to try to drive up to Mount Charleston. I'm going to try to have a nice, a nice day, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to go for a walk and enjoy this unique thing that happens here once a year, if that happens, you know. But there's days where I just, I have every gaming console and in my son's room, and I can just, and he goes to his mom's week to week. He's with me for a week. He goes with her for a week. So when he's not here, I can just go in there and, and be 11 again. You know what I mean? So
it's easy to distract yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I have, and I'll do that. But when I do that, that's when that's my rock bottom. You know what I mean? That's my rock bottom. I'll open a beer. I'll go in there. I'll play the video games. And then I'll see that I just wasted 10 hours and it felt like I was in there for an hour, and I'll go, I can't fucking do this. And I got to get back to work. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so when I left, it was, I just, I didn't really hear from a lot of the people in the show. I don't really talk to them, and I didn't miss a lot of them. So,
although I got to say, Andrew, didn't you just recently do a similar show?
Yeah, and we're getting a little bit of slap for that, a little slap back for that, or whatever, from certain people, and it's.
I can't wait until we log off, and then I could ask you.
No, I mean I don't catch any shit about it, because I have nothing to do with Rockfall anymore. I don't, so I don't catch anything for it. It's because, like you said, when it started, it was a show, and it's still kind of a show where, there's dancers and there's, all this, there was these actors in it. It was a certain thing. And that's not, I mean, what we're doing is kind of like what you do with the Sinners, it's just a bunch of guys getting together, it's a rock band thing. There's no dancers. There's, if there's a video screen in the room, we'll use it, Well,
what's interesting about that is, so when Rock Vault started, Sinners here in Vegas, for those watching, Cincinnati Sinners is a band I put together in 2007 and it managed, it's still own it to this day.
Which I sing for from time to time. I'm not a permanent guy. I guest with them sometimes.
But that is also kind of how we became acquainted, because we had some shows like, we would do a lot of, fly dates and things. And sometimes, we had Jizzy Pearl singing with us for a long time, and he would have a Quiet Riot show. And so it was like, well, does Andrew have a Last in Line show? And we just try to make it work. And so, but we went and did some great shows with you and Blas, and Elias from Slaughter, and Rowan Roberts from Dio, and Oz Fox. We've had some really fun shows. But so when that Sinners was getting hot, which was around 2010, it was my idea to say, why don't we bring in these special guests? Instead, and at that point, a lot of the bands only had one original member left. So it's like, well, let's just pay the original guy, and then they can advertise from this band. And so we sold it to casinos, and they liked it, and they paid us pretty well to do it, and we fly people in, and it was fun. Just like doing these interviews, I get to talk. One day I'm talking to the guy from the Dead Boys, and the next day I'm talking to the guy from Firehouse. It's fun, and that's what Sinners was. We had an eclectic group of people play with us. So when Rock Vault started, there was a thing called Monster Circus first.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember hearing about it. Yeah.
And you would read their press release, and I go, I know that press release. I wrote it.
Oh no.
Well, we're going to have a special guest sit in every week, and I'm like, I get it. And not saying that I or Sinners invented special guests, but the idea of having a Vegas show. And we wanted to do it. We would have been happy to sell out and do a show on the Strip and bring in, more expensive guests. Although I will tell you, the smaller guests, a guy from Trickster or something, did better because there was nowhere to see them at that time. And people were excited to relive their youth and have a good time. Don't get me wrong, the George Lynch guys and Lemmy did really well, too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But so when Rock and Fall started, we were all kind of like, oh, You're going to have a special guest, and he's going to sing his hits. And I remember going to see it, and I don't know how much I should say, but the guy
who gives a fuck, you know?
Yes, sure. No one's watching this. The guy from he's a great singer, but Toto, Bobby Kimball.
Bobby Kimball, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, they got Bobby Kimball, and I'm like, wow. But Toto's one of those funny bands where Steve Lukather sang some of the songs, and maybe the guy doesn't sing exactly like he used to. So I go, he sings one song. I go, wow, this is not the guy who touched the rain down in Africa, you know. But listen, we all have different, exactly. But and don't get me wrong. I mean, if I could tell you sinner stories for hours about guests who OD'd and didn't show up to play, and
I can tell you a good sinner story too.
Well, we'll compare notes later. But so it was like, okay, Rock Vault, and then it was like, well, you know what? Let's try to be supportive of it and see it. And I was like, wow, but the show is really bad in the beginning, but I had friends in it, and so you support your friends, you know. And listen, I'm not stupid. It's a paycheck. They're making a living, and
you know,
so
too, at that time. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. But at that time too, like maybe 6 months into that, it seemed like Vegas had a lot of things that were rock going on. You know what I mean? And that was kind of cool, you know. So anyway, again, sorry.
No, but what was great about it is that the show was growing and the guys were working, and that, you know, you were able to come to Vegas and buy a house here, and
yeah.
And so then we were able to get you to do more things because Rock Vault did a certain amount of nights. And, you know, it seemed like to me, Rock Vault had to scale down towards the end. No disrespect to them. It just happens. A venue closes, another venue, and you have to scale the show down, and then maybe it becomes a little bit less of the scripted show. And then it became more of the jam kind of thing. And there are some amazing players in it. But getting back to, so you did a show with an all-star band, and I know some of those guys were in Rock Vault. Is that something that you're looking to continue?
Yeah, we're gonna do more of those. I mean, what was it called? It's called Long Live Rock.
Okay.
And it's myself and Phil Susan and Paul Shortino and Mark Bowles and you know, it'll probably have rotating players, but the idea is that, I mean, I don't think anybody, I can speak for everybody when I say this, we really have no interest in getting into a 5-day a week, 6-day a week, you know, casino where we have to pay all that labor. You know, it's expensive to do a show here, and that's why a lot of shows fail here, because it's just, you can't even, you'll spend your money before you even get started, you know, just doing rehearsals. So
yeah,
we just want to put a concert together and you know, just a rock concert. And it's the little differences that we'll do some of our songs, you know, we'll do some of our own stuff, you know. But it's I don't want to say it's the same concert, but it's just an all-star rock band, you know, and that's the only thing that's similar with Rock Vault, besides there's a couple people that are in it. There's probably going to be a problem because if that show ever comes back, because, you know, and it's mostly because of just animosity, you know, from the other side. I could give a shit less, you know, but there's guys that probably won't play with us, but they have no issue playing in other shows in town. Like they'll do, you know, they'll do other rock shows in town that they're currently doing, you know what I mean? And that's okay, you know, but it's because that, you know, myself and Mark were, you know, we left the show under, you know, circumstances that I don't really want to get into.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
politics aren't all that exciting. I get it.
Yeah, we left because, you know, things got kind of squirrely. You know what I mean? It got a little weird there. So, and for me, it wasn't responsible for me to have that job anymore. It just wasn't a responsible decision for me. So, so I moved on, you know.
Yeah.
I could have saved it. They had somebody waiting in the wings though to take over for me, and they wanted me to go away for a little while and slap me on the wrist for something that I don't even know what it was, but I just, you know, I said fuck you, like that was my exact words, fuck you, you know. I didn't need it, and you know, and I ended up just working with Last in Line, and I started doing Tenors of Rock in town on a sub basis.
That show, that's right.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not one of the main guys, but I sub in and out of it, and you know, but there's
Well,
guys who do. There's guys that do tenors who do rock vault. You know, they go back and forth. You know, it's just, it's a personal thing, and I think it's because I was one of the first guys, and I was the first guy hired for the show. I was the first guy, and because I did the sessions for the CDs that they released, so I was the first guy. So I basically worked for them for a year before the show even started. You know, doing sessions and such. So I think it's just a matter of, and honestly, Jason, it's just something that could be settled over a beer in a bar. You know what I mean? You sit down and have a beer with somebody and go, no, that's not my intention. That wasn't what I meant. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. And it's just so stupid. But again, I don't go back. You know, I don't go backwards. If I was offered something, you know, maybe, but I have to get paid in cash before the show every night.
Yeah. Well, that is when those type of politics get involved, it's very difficult. And sometimes things like that happen for a reason, that it's time for us to move on, or we stay too long. And if you stay too long and you're unhappy, on top of having some bad business, well, then you're better doing what you do.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to get into the details of everything that went on, because I don't want to get an email or a phone call. It's not so much I'm worried about it's going to affect me down the road, but I just don't. I'm so tired of getting bullshit emails about this stuff from you know, from people. I just my thing is, it was not a responsible thing for me to stay there. It was not good for my kids. It was not good for my economically. It wasn't good for me anymore. Yeah. So when the opportunity came for me to go, you know, when somebody said, I'm going to have to let you go for a little bit, I said, fuck you. You're going to fire me? Okay, good. Fuck you. You know, that's cool. No problem. See you later. You know, and that's how it went. No contact, no nothing. I don't need it. So,
well, and you're like we were saying earlier, you've always been in demand. There's people who need you. There's other projects. You have your own things. You have other talents. So to stay in a situation you're not happy in, you know, obviously wouldn't make sense. And you know, now the way the world is, when things open, everyone's sort of on an even playing field. Everyone's looking for, it's a fresh start. Some people won't make that. Some people won't make that fresh start. Some people will have given up. You know. You know, you you stay busy.
Yeah, I worked that whole year with Last in Line that I was out of the year I was out of the year I left. It was like the end of 2018. 2019, we worked pretty steady all year. And, you know, I had one of the best years of my life, you know, in the business, you know. So I can't complain, you know. We put a great album out. We had a great tour, and I still haven't looked back, you know. Like,
and a third record to come.
Yeah. We're halfway through that now. So it's a matter of getting this nonsense over.
Yeah, and I was looking at Last in Line's website. You guys are very active. You know, I mean, there's video chats with the band, and you have some dates. I don't know, you know, none of us know what dates are going to happen, but there is some stuff if it's meant to be. And so people can go check that out. They can check out Last in Line's website, and they can check you out on online as well. And yeah, I think we've said it all. I mean, I'm sure. I said it all. I'm sure. I mean, I got a million notes here, but
go for it. I'm in no rush. Feel free.
Yeah, I feel like
want to do, buddy.
I feel like we we have to log off and then badmouth everybody that we.
That'll take another hour.
Yeah, that's going to be the unedited, uncensored, restricted version.
The after show party.
Yeah, right. After show party for sure. But
in the green room with Jason Green.
Yeah, I got a story about that too. But anyway, but it was good chatting with you, Andrew. I'm glad to catch up, and you've had such a interesting career, and I know there's a lot more to come. So
I hope so. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch for sure. So thank you, everybody. Check out Andrew Freeman. And I forgot to say all that like and comment and subscribe stuff. I'm really bad at this, you know. Like when you host one of these things, you're supposed to have like a fancy graphic with music, and then you're supposed to have this ticker thing that goes by, and you're supposed to remind people, because you can't do this unless people are subscribing. You know, I have friends like you who are nice enough to come and shoot it with me for a while. But then there's other people who would tell me, how many subscribers do you have? Do I have to shave for this? I have to shave for this? Get out of here. And, and there's some people are in quarantine right now, don't want to be on video. They just not looking to do that, which I get. So that's why I'm supposed to remind people that you have to do all this subscribing. Of course, I do it in the last second. They fell asleep after we started bitching about Rockfall, but
that wasn't that was constructive talk.
Or they went to email people, you know what I mean, from the basement.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, man. I'll probably, I'll probably hear something, but it is what it is. I just don't respond. I got no fucking time for that. So
as long as they subscribe, it's okay.
As long as they subscribe to this podcast and they're watching the Jason Green in the Green Room hour.
All right. And on that note, we're going to log out. Okay, Andrew, take care.
Take care, man.